I'm gonna wait a few minutes for somebody to show up. And then we will get going.
I can make some coffee for us.
Okay, thank you, Nate.
Are you live now?
Yep, I'm live. Trying to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Waiting to see if somebody comes on. Nobody yet. I'll be reading to you guys from my book here, I Don't Know These Shadows. See, I don't think we can, like, turn this around. It's going to be backwards. So here is the front. Makes making a lot of noise with the water there. Yeah, pretty much just pretty much the same front and back, the tree. The tree from like a backyard basically. So I was trying to find something that went with, you know, the theme of spookiness here. And there's one that has like people going through a forest and stuff, so I guess that kind of fits. Waiting. Let's see if I can share this and maybe let people know I'm on. Nope, we got one person. Hello. I am going to be reading from my new book, I Don't Know These Shadows. So I'm trying to decide on what story to write, so I figured maybe I would let somebody pick a number between 1 and 10, because there's 10 stories in here. So anybody watching is interested in picking a number, and I will see if I can read a story from that number. They're not too long, so I probably can get through all of them. Some of them I might have to kind of use different words, because I got maybe a bad word or two in here. This one I considered for adults. I'm going to go with 6. Okay. What was number 6 in here? Let me see. Ooh, sorry about that loud noise. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's see. So number 6 is on page 69, and it's called The Eyes in the Woods. Let's go to number 69. All right. So, Eyes in the Woods. Holly stood on her front porch with a heavy backpack of clothes and other things such as books and makeup. She rocked back and forth on her heels with anticipation. It had been 6 months since her older sister Claire had gone off to college. It was a nice school, and Holly was beyond happy for her. She just hated how far away it was. It was practically on the state border, which was about a 4-hour drive from where she lived. They were going to their father's house for Easter. Their father and stepmother, Angela, were planning a nice dinner. When her sister arrived, she ran down the steps, opened the back door of the car, and threw her backpack on the seat. Shall we take the scenic route? Claire asked. Sure, just be careful. What, are you afraid we'll break down and have to run into the woods to hide from some maniac? No, I'm more thinking of you hitting a deer, but thanks for putting that into my head. I'm definitely thinking about that now. The road was long and winding, trees by the hundreds sat on either side. The windows were rolled down as Claire had an affinity for fresh air. Holly would have been perfectly fine with the man-made cooling machine, given the beautiful name air conditioning. At least at this point, she thought it was beautiful, given that its air would have been much cooler. Hello. Holly wondered if Connor would be helping with dinner. Connor was their 17-year-old stepbrother who had declared himself the chef of the family. He had made spaghetti once while they were there on winter break. His mother insisted that she be the one to cook for them, but Connor was too excited about showing off his skills. It actually tasted really good. At least Holly and Claire thought so. They had been on the road long. They had not been on the road long, but Holly had been up since 6 and was growing a bit tired. She decided to try and take a nap. As she closed her eyes, she caught a glimpse of what looked like a pair of eyes. She sat straight up, let out a gasp that made Claire stop the car. Oh, I almost forgot before I continue with the story. So the basic concept of this book was that I had asked people for words, right? Give me a word and I would write a story around it. Like somehow I would insert that word into a story. So the word for this story was verbose. So if you pick up this book, you'll see all the different words I was using. By the way, this is available on Amazon, Ko-fi, Barnes & Noble now, I think Apple Books, Fable. It's on Everend too. So, a few different platforms, you can check this out. What's wrong? Did you see that? She cried. See what? There were eyes in the forest. Can't say that I did. Are you okay? Have you been getting enough sleep? Yes, I get plenty of sleep. I'm just fine in that department. Okay. I was just checking. I know graduation is coming up for you, and you have the yearbook to help finish. When you have a lot going on, it can really wear you down. Don't forget I was class president. Holly interrupts. I know. And you played on the girls' basketball team for 3 years. Oh, and the school put on plays that you wrote. I know. You did it all. Yes, I did. This is the book of short stories. Let me take a quick drink here. So there are 10 short stories in here. I'm working on a longer set of fiction that's just one story that I plan on maybe making, or I have the plans on making into a series. Ooh. Don't read out loud too much, so I gotta take a drink once in a while. Exactly. I enjoyed all those things, but I felt pulled in every direction. So much of it was to impress others and make them happy. Holly smiled and told her sister she would try to take it easy once in a while. See, I noticed a mistake that I made here. Should have been in. Ugh, I always hate when I find mistakes, but this is independently published, so you pick it up. Forgive any mistakes that you see. I've gotten a little bit better with my editing, though. I will say that. Okay. There were no more mysterious eyes the rest of the way. Still, Holly couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching her. She knew how irrational it seemed, and yet the thought of not being scared seemed downright stupid. She didn't need another lecture about effects of stress, so she did the best to think of something else. I'm thinking of getting a cat, Claire said. She said it with excitement in her voice. Holly couldn't help but wonder if this was due to having a new furry friend or a way to combat loneliness for Claire. Her sister had had a bad year so far. Get your butt down. He's eating the rest of my soup and interrupting my live. The licking of my soup.
You should have thrown your soup away.
Yeah,
You put all the meat away.
I put them in the fridge for now.
You need to throw that away. Yeah, he's making coffee.
Okay. Meet me up for a cup.
Mm-hmm. When I came today. Hey, get him down, please, before he knocks us off.
You have to put me down.
Her roommate had been sleeping with Claire's boyfriend of 2 years while Claire worked extra hours to help on the bills. The saddest thing was that neither of them felt any guilt over it. Holly didn't know if she should ask her sister how she was holding up after something like that. It seemed like the caring thing to do, but it was something that would for sure make her sister break down in tears, so she didn't ask. When they arrived at their father's house, Claire was greeted by Connor. "Food is all ready," he said. "We made tons of stuff. Ham, potatoes, salad, corn, and 2 pies. Leave it to Dad to make Easter a mini Thanksgiving," Claire said. The 3 of them laughed as they entered the house. Come on! It had been decorated with colorful plastic eggs and pictures of bunnies and flowers. The smell of the food was strong. Holly's stomach rumbled. The ham tasted as if it had been soaked and glazed for weeks. Homemade mashed potatoes with buttery garlic. Yeah. Made for an excellent side dish with some steamed asparagus. No one said anything for the first 5 minutes of the meal. Between work and school, none of them had really had time for home-cooked meals. Claire had eaten over 10 cheeseburgers in the last week. "It's so nice to eat something not cooked in grease," she said. This made Angela smile. "Me too. Work has been chaotic. I'm surprised that I got off today. I hate the fact that we only get together during the holidays," Claire said. "I love school, but there's so much unnecessary sacrifice." "It's hard," her father said, "but here we are now, so let's eat and enjoy our time." After dinner, they sat in the living room talking about things that were going on in their lives. Angela started a new job just a few months ago. Their father was up for a promotion. It was something Angela had been nagging for him to go for. Claire showed him a copy of the book she had written. It was typed out and the pages were held in a 3-ring binder. Holly read her sister's book twice. Claire was a talented writer. Holly could not and certainly would have not denied it. She did, however, find a few pages to be verbose. She loved the character-driven stories, but she really didn't need 2 paragraphs on why a character liked blue curtains. "Was it hard to write?" Angela asked. "Sort of," Claire answered. "It took a lot of research. I read a ton of books on mythology and folklore. It was pretty easy. I don't mind research. I think it was fun to learn different things as it was for actual writing. The story flowed well for me, but I was never very good at all the grammar stuff." That night, Claire slept on an air mattress while Holly... Come on, get him!
Get down!
While Holly stayed up reading on the couch. She never could sleep the first night of travel, even if it wasn't a long trip. She usually brought a long book or two small ones. She preferred ones that were very descriptive to take her mind off the fact that she wasn't sleeping in her own bed. She had decided she was in the mood to read a mystery novel she found on the small bookshelf. She had brought it in hopes to get more reading done. Thick and a bit floppy, it was a paperback that fit comfortably in her hands. She lied back on the couch and got lost in the story. It wasn't long after that she had read half the book. It was 5 minutes after 1 a.m. when she finally began to grow tired enough for sleep. She closed her eyes and began to fall asleep. And as she began to fall asleep, she heard crying. Startled, she sat right up. She looked around the living room, but no one else other than her sleeping sister was there. Must have been from outside, she said to herself. She closed her eyes again, but this time the crying came before she got into a deep sleep. Again, she looked around to see nothing that could have made the crying sound. She lay on her side, but did not close her eyes. As soon as her ear touched the cushion, she could hear the crying again. It sounded desperate and panicky. What the hell, she cried out loud. What was that? Claire rolled over to her side but did not wake up. Holly bent down and shook her to wake her up. Stop, stop, Claire cried. I'm trying to sleep. I need you to get up. Claire looked at the clock that sat on the mantel. It was past 1 in the morning. It's past 1 in the morning. Why the hell are you waking me up? I heard crying. Okay, it was probably the cat. No, it was a human cry. Well, the window was open. You probably heard the neighbors. I think Angela mentioned something that one lady 2 houses down is getting divorced. Maybe she would be crying. Makes sense that she would be crying. No, I only heard it when I lie down. I hear it when I'm falling asleep or when I put my ear to the cushion. And besides, 2 houses down is too far to hear crying. It was a dream then. Please just look around the house with me. Claire sighed and got up. This is just like when you were 5 and Mom and Dad made it my job to check your room for monsters. Hey, I was little. So was I, but I never got scared that easily. Holly gave Claire a mean look. She hated it when her sister was right about things like that. It was true, Holly was very timid and was startled by the littlest noises. Claire, on the other hand, never seemed to be bothered by things that were supposed to be scary. As a child, she loved horror movies and campfire ghost stories. You like stuff like this, Holly said. Spooky stuff. Not at 1 in the morning while I was sleeping. Where do you want to check first? The sooner we pick a room, the sooner I can get back to bed. Let's check the kitchen. Holly gestured for Claire to go first. Claire rolled her eyes and reached for the light switch. As she reached out and let out a gasp and quickly pulled her hand back. What's wrong? Holly asked. Something touched my hand. What? Why the light switch? It was like another hand on top of mine. Holly saw that there was a broom that leaned against the stove. She picked it up and used it to turn the light switch on. The kitchen was empty. They slowly walked in. Holly held the broom out on its side in case she needed it as a shield. You know, Holly said, it was probably Dad or Angela. Claire looked around. You're probably right. I'm surprised it didn't cross our minds earlier, especially yours. I know, what's wrong? If it was either one of them, then where did they go so quickly? Why come in the kitchen doorway just to leave? Do you think someone got in? I hope not. I don't see any other explanation, though. Holly opened one of the drawers and took out her knife. She set the broom against the stove. I'm sure this is better protection than a broom. I hate to think about it, Claire said, but whoever it was got Dad and Angela. It's best we don't think about that just yet. Claire grabbed the pot lid from the bottom Claire grabbed a pot lid from the bottom cabinet. Holly gave her a look of confusion. I don't want to carry anything too heavy. Besides, it's good enough to hit someone in the face if I have to. Holly shrugged and suggested that they check the pantry. It was small, but a person could fit in there with the door closed. She grabbed the handle and turned it slowly. She took a deep breath and swung the door open. No one was there, but they both let out a sigh of relief. The living room is pretty open, Holly said. Not many places to hide there. Hello.
Is Jennifer on there?
Somebody showed up, yep. Claire nodded in agreement. There was a closet in the living room, but it was so packed with things it would be impossible to hide in there without being noticed. Knowing that there was no more place to hide downstairs, the two sisters tightly gripped their weapons of choice and made their way upstairs. The hallway was dark and all the doors were closed. Claire used her frying pan to turn on the light. The silence remained. We should check the bathroom, Holly said. Finally, checking behind the shower curtain is not a thing of paranoia. True. Now we just need a scenario for bathroom stalls. The bathroom, just like the pantry, had been empty of any person. In fact, it looked as if it hadn't been used in hours. The smell from the air freshener dominated the room, and the sink was dry. All that's left is Dad and Angela's room and Connor's room, Claire said. I know. What should we check first? Connor's? Okay. I'm going to do it fast. Okay. Claire grabbed the handle of Connor's room, the door handle of Connor's room, took a deep breath and flung the door open. Neither of them heard anything, and slowly they walked in, and Holly turned on the lamp that sat on its desk. Claire picked up the water bottle and threw it under the bed. What are you doing? Holly asked. I was trying to see if anyone was hiding under there. We could just look. No, what if they were under there? They'd grab me. And throwing something at them is a better idea? We could be out of the room by the time they got it from under the bed. You got a point. We know now no one is under there. Should we check Dad and Angela's room? Not yet, Claire suggested the closet. I'm not opening it, Holly said. Claire raised the pot lid she was holding and slowly slid the closet door open. To their surprise, in sat Connor. Claire gasped. What are you doing in the closet? Hiding. I heard voices. At first I thought it was outside, but then I realized that only I heard them when I lay down. What voices? Holly asked. I heard voices too. It was like someone was crying, he said, like they were scared, like they needed help. So you hid in the closet? Claire asked. Not right away. I wanted to see if Mom and George were still up. I wanted to know if they were hearing stuff too. So I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. I waited a few seconds and I knocked again, but harder that time. Then what? Holly asked. Then I went in. Normally I don't do things like that, but since there was no way both of them slept through that knock, I went in and there was my mom. She was just standing there, facing the window. I called her, but she just kept staring at the window. I turned on the light, and that's when I saw that she had blood all over her. Blank, Claire said. So where is she now? Holly asked. Where is our dad? Honestly, I don't know. I hid in the closet after I saw her in the light. What happened? Claire asked. How did she look? She turned to see Holly leaning against the wall with her head in her hands. She knew her sister was terrified, but they needed to know what was going on. When she turned around, her eyes were like cat eyes. They were yellow and had a glow to them. Her skin was so pale. There were blotches of bluish, black, and purple all over her hands and face. It was like she was a demon that had the crap kicked out of her. I backed away slowly at first. Then she opened her mouth wide, like wider than any human being should be able to. Then she let out a sound that was like an animal getting ready to attack. What are we going to do? Holly cried. I don't know, Connor said. I have a feeling that we have to leave the house. We aren't safe here. I don't even know if my mother, whatever she was, is still in the room. We'll have to figure something out. I say we run downstairs outside to the car and just take off. I agree, Holly said. We need to think rationally about this, Claire said. Rationally, Holly cried. Both Connor and I heard voices, and his mom is apparently some kind of cat monster. There's nothing rational about any of this. Can you get him?
Jumper.
I think down. Down. Down.
I think we just have to use let our imaginations go wild. I think we have just let our imaginations go wild. Let's go to Dad and Angela's room and check it out. You're crazy, Connor said. I know what I saw. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't my imagination. I was awake. I remember it all. I remember the look on her face. She smiled this evil smile before opening her mouth. Okay, if it makes me feel any better, I'll check it out. I'm going in there, find nothing, and walk out safely. All three of them walked slowly to Connor's room. Out of Connor's room. The room down the small hall seemed miles away. A sense of fear and dread came over all of them, though none of them mentioned it. Take a drink real quick, and we will continue with the story. When they got to their parents' room, the door was open. Before Claire had entered the room, she noticed that she had stepped on some kind of liquid. She looked down to see that it was blood. What the hell, she said. What's wrong? Holly asked, her voice cracking from fear. There's blood right here in the doorway, a puddle of it. I told you, Connor said. I told you that some messed up stuff was going on. Let's go to the car, Claire said in a shaky voice. They ran for the stairs, but once again the hall seemed to stretch. The faster they ran, the further it seemed to be. It felt as if some kind of force was weighing on them, pushing them back. Something is on me, Connor cried. I can barely move anymore. We have to push through it, Claire said, trying to catch her breath. Just then, she ran into something hard. She looked to see if it was the railing of the stairs. The three of them ran down the stairs. Connor grabbed a rock that had been painted by Angela off the table that sat by the front door. Claire and Holly held onto their knife and pot lid as they all ran to Claire's car. Just before they reached the car, Connor's mother ran in front of them. Her yellow eyes glowed bright. Claire and Holly could see the blotchy bruises that Connor had told them about. They were all over her body, but now she also had patches of fur. She turned to Claire's car and sent her claw-like hand through the passenger window. Get Nathaniel!
What?
Get him off the table, please, before he knocks us down.
Jumping from pop now.
She then sent her claws through the tire before she howled and ripped the car and tipped the car into its side. What the hell is wrong with your mom? Claire asked in a shaky voice. Why does she look like that? I don't know, Connor whispered. We have to think of something, Holly said. I already have, Claire said. Connor, I know it's going to be hard, but you have to throw that rock at your mom. I can't, he stuttered. You have to. Connor stood there frozen. Claire grabbed the rock from him. Before he could say anything, she threw it at his mother's head. The beast-like woman howled and thrashed around. Let's go, Claire yelled. Where? Holly asked. Anywhere. Let's just get out of here. Just then, in the distance, Holly saw them again, a pair of eyes she had seen in the forest. She realized it was the same kind of eyes the monster version of Angela had. Those eyes, she said, pointing to them. Claire and Connor looked towards the direction that Holly was pointing in. Those are the eyes that I saw, she said in a panicky voice. The eyes in the woods. I knew I wasn't imagining them. More eyes began to appear. They seemed at first to just be floating in the darkness. Soon they found themselves surrounded. Out of the darkness came more beast people. We have to run, Claire said. We can't, Holly said. Those things are everywhere. We have to just run, even if we have to push through them, Claire said, swinging the pot lid as she went. A creature lunged after her, falling to the ground as its head came into contact with the lid. Come on, she yelled, run. So, what pages have we got left here? A few. The others followed. The creatures roared. Holly finally figured out what it reminded her of. It was the same roar as a mountain lion. One of them got down on all fours and began to chase them. It leapt high in the air, knocking Holly down as it landed. She tried to get up, but the creature grabbed her ankle and began to drag her. Holly tried to resist. She grabbed onto the grass, digging her fingers in the dirt, but the creature was too strong and dragged her a few feet before lifting her up. It opened its mouth, exposing 2 rows of sharp teeth. It lifted Holly close to its mouth and went to bite her. Holly closed her eyes and started kicking. She figured if she was going to get eaten, she'd at least go down with a fight. Soon she could feel its hot breath on her face. But to her surprise, instead of being bitten, she was falling with the creature. They landed and the creature lost its grip. She picked up the knife she dropped and stabbed the creature in the heart. She caught up to the others. Oh my God, are you okay? Claire said. Do I look okay? Holly shouted. I was just almost eaten by a cat person. Seem more like big cat like to me. Seem more big cat like to me, Claire said. Holly breathed heavily. Her sister might have been right, but it was not the time to worry about being specific about monstrous creatures. She looked back to see the creature standing in the distance, staring at them. She wondered why they did not continue to chase them. The 3 of them ran until they came upon a gas station. They ran into the convenience store. Do you have a phone we can use? Claire asked the man behind the counter. The man nodded and handed Claire the phone. I'm calling Dad, she told them. Hopefully he picks up. Hopefully he's alive, Holly whispered. Claire dialed her father's number. The phone rang once before he answered. Who is this? His voice was strange. Dad, it's me, Claire. Claire? Yes. Oh, thank God you're alive. Are Holly and Connor okay? We're all okay, barely. But we are. Where are you? At Angela's mother's house. Dad, I have to tell you about Angela. I know she changed. You knew about this and you just left us all? I didn't leave you. I'm with Connor's grandmother, Elise. Stay there. I'm coming for you. Dad, what's going on? Angela isn't what you think she is. What do you mean? I'll tell you when I see you. Where are you? At a gas station. In the store. The one up the road? Yes. Okay. Stay there. I'll be there as soon as I can. Claire handed the phone back to the store clerk and thanked him. What's going on? Connor asked. Our dad is coming here. What else? You were talking about my mother. What did he say about her? Found another freaking mistake that I made in here, but that's okay. Okay. It was supposed to be a quotation mark and it's not. I hate that. But anyways. He said she's not what we think she is. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. It wasn't long before their father arrived at the gas station. Dad, Holly said. Come on, we'll talk outside, he said. What's going on? Connor asked as soon as they stepped outside. What's happening to my mother? Connor, there's something your mother has always wanted to tell you for years, but she never knew how. It was the reason we met. You told me you met at work. Their father shook his head and took a deep sigh. I'm sorry, that was a lie. Well, I know now, Connor shouted. I'm sorry. At first, I didn't tell you because you were too young to understand. Then, as the years went on, it just got harder to find the right time to tell you. Tell me what? Connor cried. George looked at Connor, then his two daughters. His heart pounded as he tried to find an easy way to say what he was about to say. Connor, your mother is half demon. What? Connor threw his hands up. Demon? Like a fallen angel? You have to be kidding me. I met my mother's parents. I grew up with them. You know them. All of you know them. Now you're trying to tell me that my grandfather was a demon? Was my dad one too? No, your dad was just a person that could see and hear some things of the other world. Also, it's demon with an A in it. It's not what you think. Other world, Holly asked. The spirit world. You see, Connor, I did actually meet your mother at my job. The thing though, it wasn't because we were co-workers. Your father and I met her at the same time. It was the last day of work before the store before we were to leave for school. You both met her at the same time. Any more lies? And what difference does the spelling make? George looked down. No. All that's left is the details. And what was never told to you. A demon with an A in it is a nature spirit. I promise you that the only lie we told you was about how we met. Well, no offense, George, but I think letting a child believe he was fully human was kind of another big lie. So how exactly did you meet Angela? Claire asked. We met her through a sort of meditation. George looked to see the three of them had looks of confusion upon their faces. As I said before, both Jacob and I had the ability to connect with the spirit world. We had heard about the ability to contact spiritual beings through meditation. What we had to do was sit in a quiet room, close our eyes, and try to envision what we thought the other side looked like. I'm not sure how we both envisioned your mother, Connor. I really don't. Perhaps it was because we both meditated at the same time. Maybe his version of the spirit realm looked similar to mine. I never got a chance to ask him. All I knew was that when I opened my eyes, an image of Angela stood in front of me. Jacob asked if I could see her too. I said yes and described her. So then what happened after that? Connor asked. We locked up the store and got the hell out of there. How did my parents end up getting together if you two were scared? She came in the store. At first Jacob nor I could believe it. We thought we were imagining it. Your father went up to her. I tried to stop him. I don't think it was safe to go up to someone whose image you conjured up in meditation. He told me that something was drawing her to him, that he felt like he needed to talk to her. He walked up to her. They stared at each other for a moment before your mother spoke. I'm not sure why you're asking. That's not really what the video is about. She said, you know, you've been in my dreams. I know I've been in yours. then he said that can't be possible, but it still was. She then said her mother had told her that she had got older. As she got older, her powers became stronger. Powers to do what? Connor cried. To go in and out of the spirit realm as she pleased, also to shapeshift into animals. So let me get this straight. You and my father did this ritual meditation thing. You both saw my mother in some kind of hallucination and dreams. Then you randomly met her in a store where she confessed to having powers. As strange as it seems, yes. And why would she do that? Just randomly go up to a person and say, "Hi, I'm a shape-shifting spirit from your fantasy." I know it sounds crazy, but I think it was love at first sight. Crazy and cliche, Claire said. Okay, so my mom's a demon. Half demon, actually, George corrected him. So which one of my grandparents was the demon? Your grandfather. But Grandpa is so nice. He seemed like the nicest person out of my whole existence. Being a demon doesn't mean someone is mean, George said. Remember, these are spirits of nature, not symbols of absolute evil. No offense, but why did she try killing us if she's not evil? Claire asked. So, this is about the book here. So, we'll not be answering any questions that do not revolve around the book. Thank you. Let's see. That's sort of where Connor's grandmother comes in. She practices magic. She's actually very skilled in it. I thought there were no more lies, Connor interrupted. It's not a lie. We just never told you. Again, telling me all these things, all these people were normal is lying. Your grandmother met your grandfather when she was doing a Mabon ritual in the forest. He had been watching her from behind the trees. Her love and respect for the natural world drew him to her. The story they gave me was that he began to whistle, only it wasn't a normal whistle. It sounded like birds singing. They say that another witch saw this and became infatuated with him. She became enraged and full of jealousy, and when he chose your grandmother, the other witch cursed her. The curse was that her firstborn child would suffer a night of lycanthropy every 10 years. Yeah, I mean, it's going to look backwards on video. Not much I can do about that. But it is called I Don't Know These Shadows. You can get it on Amazon. Name I write under is S.C. Dickinson. So, I Don't Know These Shadows. You can get it on Amazon, Ko-fi, and a few other places. Wait, so I'm part demon and part werewolf? No, that part is a curse, and it only applies to your mother. But she looked more cat-like than wolf-like, Holly said. That's a result of her shape-shifting abilities. Instead of turning into a wolf every time, she turns into random animals. So my mom's a cat person at the moment, then years from now she's going to be what? A giraffe? A dolphin? She could be any of those things now. The shape-shifting comes at random. So you're saying that she shapeshifts at other times too? Yes, the only difference is tonight she has no control over it. What's the plan? Claire asked. What the hell are we going to do? We have to capture her and put her in a cage. No chat. This took a couple of years to write. I mean, I was working on some other things like poetry and stuff in between that, so a couple of these stories that I have in here are from like probably before 2018, so yeah, it took a while. Cage, Connor asked. His voice shook with surprise. Yes, a cage, just until she turns back to normal. You mean when she turns back to looking normal, Connor said. She never was normal, and neither was I. Wait, if Connor has demon in him, then why Why doesn't he have any special abilities? Holly asked. He does. He was born with great intuition and prophetic dreams. I always thought I just had good judgment, Connor said, and the dreams I thought every time they came were just coincidences. We have to find her, George said. There's a few places she could be. Where should we try first? Claire asked. You're not going to like this, but we need to check behind Connor's grandmother's house. Claire groaned. She liked Elisa's grandmother. She didn't mind being in her house. The shed was another story. It was old and falling apart. The door was cracked in several places and the paint was chipping off. She thought it looked like something out of a horror movie. It's so creepy, she whined. It looks like a place in a slasher movie where the final girl finds the other victims. We'll all go together, George said. Claire took a deep breath. Okay, let's go. Wait, Connor said. How exactly are we supposed to catch her? Enchanted dart gun, George asked. At least put a spell on it. I'll shoot Angela in the leg or something. She won't be hurt. I'll just put her in a trance-like state. Then we'll put her in the car and take her home to the cage. Cage, Connor said with surprise. Where did you have a cage that I never saw? Here. Oh no, George said. We bought it earlier today, since that time was coming. That used to mean something else, Connor said. I didn't need to know about the women in my life, and I don't need to know about this crap. Well, that's life, Claire said. If you ever wanted a girlfriend, you're going to have to deal with it. By that, I mean the metrocycle, of course, not the supernatural stuff. Yeah, got that. They drove to Lisa's house. All the lights were out. Grandma must have gone to bed early, Connor said. She's usually up past 12. Hopefully we don't wake her, George said. She'll need all the rest she can get after tonight. She had to use a lot of her magic to keep your mother from getting any worse. The four of them crept into the backyard. They didn't need to go very far before they spotted Angela through the small, dirty window of the shed. She was throwing things in all directions. We have to get her to come out, George said. Claire picked up the pebble and threw it at the window of the shack. It only made a soft dinging sound, but it was enough to catch Angela's attention. She stopped, dropped what was in her hand, and stared at them through the window. We need her out here, George said. I won't be able to use the darts unless she does. We may have to break the window. Connor and Holly looked around for bigger rocks, but could not find any. Then Holly noticed a metal thermal cup sitting on the patio table. She picked it up and threw it and knew it would be heavy enough to break the window. Holly threw it as hard as she could. It went right through the glass and landed by Angela's feet. The beast-like woman let out another roar. She grabbed the window pane and tore a hole in the shack. When she stepped out, George raised the dart gun. He tried to steady his hands. He tried to steady his shaking arm, but it was no use. He knew he had to shoot and hope that the dart hit Angela. It flew faster than expected. It flew into her left arm. Angela fell to the ground, her face twisted back and forth between animal and human. After a few seconds, she fell asleep. The four of them didn't sleep that night. They stayed up in the living room while Angela slept, handcuffed to her bed. When she woke the next day, George undid the handcuffs and she recounted all that she could remember. She remembered being hungry and in pain, but not her transformation or how she got anywhere. It's all the days, she said. It felt like a really vivid dream. Well, now that it's over, we can have a real spring break, Connor said. Claire excused herself from the conversation. Sorry, I need to clean up, she said. It's been a long night and I just have to wash away as much as that I can. Of it as I can. After Claire did not come back down for a long time, Holly decided to check her room. She knocked on the bathroom door. Are you okay? She asked through the door. Claire opened the door. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just having a hard time deciding what's worse, being attacked by her supernatural stepmother, or the fact that her family kept things from us. Well, at least it wasn't as bad for us, Holly said. I can't imagine what Connor's going through. Finding out something about your parents like that. Neither can I, Claire said as she stared at her. Neither can I, Claire said as she stared at her golden cat-like eyes in the mirror. So, like I said, I will not be responding to anything that has nothing to do with the book. Book is called I Don't Know These Shadows. S.E. Dickinson is author name. The story that I had just finished reading is called The Eyes in the Woods. Yeah, going on about 51 minutes, so most of the stories in here are kind of short, but I think that one might be my longest story. Yep, there are 10 stories in here. So here is the front cover. Here is the back cover. The side. Not really too special there, but you know. The stories in here are It's on Me, Killing a Pizza Night, The Message, Invisible You, Helping My Dead Friend Get Revenge, Acting, The Eyes in the Woods, which is the one I just read, A Haunting Melody, Closed, My Girlfriend Zinnia, and Red Bobby. Thank you. Like I said, I don't try to pay too much attention to things. But yeah, if you guys are interested in short horror stories, supporting indie authors, definitely check out this book. And I think my coffee's almost done, so I'll say goodbye for now and hope you guys enjoyed the story. Yep. Thank you.